Alabama fans, let me tell you something. There is a player on this roster who could be on the verge of making Crimson Tide fans realize that something very special is happening. And what makes this even more interesting is that this impression isn't coming only from people watching practice from a distance. It's coming from players who are on the field, catching his passes, standing in the huddle, and watching this quarterback every single day. And when a teammate uses a phrase like dynamite in a bottle to describe a player, I start paying very close attention. Because in my opinion, if Keelon Russell can truly turn all of this talent into consistency throughout the season, we could be looking at one of the most exciting players Alabama has had in recent years. And I want you to stay until the end because I'm going to explain exactly why Crimson Tide players themselves are so impressed with him. But first, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and show your support for Alabama. If you're a Crimson Tide fan and you want to follow everything happening with our team, this is the place to be. Now, let's get straight to the point. Keelon Russell isn't being viewed inside Alabama as simply another young quarterback waiting for his opportunity. Quite the opposite. What is getting people's attention is the way his own teammates describe what they're seeing during practices. And there is one statement that to me sums it all up. Alabama tight end Marshall Pritchett was very direct when talking about Russell. According to him, Keelon is dynamite in a bottle. And I think that phrase says much more than it might seem, because we're not just talking about a quarterback who can run or make an impressive play every once in a while. Pritchett emphasized that Keelon is an incredible athlete and also a player capable of making throws that leave his teammates simply unable to believe what they just witnessed. And that's exactly the part that catches my attention the most. Pritchett explained that there are plays made by Keelon that make the players immediately want to rewind the film just to understand how that pass happened. It's the kind of play where you look at it and think, there is no way he just did that. To me, that's the kind of talent that can completely change the dynamic of an offense. A quarterback can be smart, accurate, disciplined, and reliable. All of that is extremely important, but when you combine those qualities with exceptional athletic ability and the ability to make seemingly impossible throws, that's when something different begins to emerge. And that's exactly the feeling people inside Alabama are giving when they talk about Keelon Russell. What's even more interesting is that this confidence doesn't seem to come only from what Russell does with the football in his hands. His teammates are also talking about who he is away from the field. Ryan Coleman Williams described Keelon as a very laid-back person, someone who enjoys being around his teammates, and to me, that's important too. Because being a quarterback isn't just about talent, it's about leadership. It's about confidence. It's about being able to walk into a locker room and make your teammates believe that when the football is in his hands, something good can happen. And Keelon appears to be building exactly that kind of relationship with Alabama's players. Coleman Williams said Russell likes spending time with his teammates, whether that's during team activities or simply hanging out with them. Sometimes that means getting some extra passes in on the weekend. Other times, it simply means spending time with his friends. And there's one interesting detail. Keelon even has his own bowling ball, and according to Coleman Williams, he's pretty good at bowling. It may seem like a small detail, but I see it differently. A quarterback needs to be connected to the roster. He needs to be close to the players who are going to depend on him during games. And when his own teammates make a point of highlighting this side of Russell's personality, it shows that he's not simply trying to earn his place on the field. He's also building trust away from it. And now we get to what I consider the most important part. Keelon Russell arrived at Alabama surrounded by enormous expectations. He was considered the highest-rated recruit in program history, according to 24/7 Sports. That means the pressure on him was already massive before he even took on a major role on the team. But there's a difference between being a highly rated recruit and showing every day why you received that evaluation. And apparently, that's exactly what Russell is doing. His teammates are watching the practices, they're watching the throws, they're seeing the athletic ability, they're seeing the plays that make everyone stop and think twice, and I believe that's the central point of this story. We're still talking about a young player. You can't put the responsibility of solving everything on Keelon Russell's shoulders. College football requires consistency, game awareness, decision-making, and a great deal of maturity. But talent? That certainly doesn't seem to be a problem. And when I put all of this information together, one thing becomes clear to me.
Keelon Russell has a trait that could be extremely dangerous for any defense. He can turn what looks like an ordinary play into an explosive one. That's exactly why the phrase "dynamite in a bottle" makes so much sense. You can have the perfect defensive game plan. You can know exactly where the quarterback is supposed to throw the football. You can close the gaps. You can bring pressure. But if Russell really has the ability to create something outside the script, all it takes is one small opportunity for the entire game to change. And that's where I start getting very curious about what Alabama is going to show us this season. Because in my opinion, Keelon Russell's biggest challenge won't be proving that he has talent. His own teammates are already doing that for him. The real challenge will be turning that talent into production once the games begin, when the pressure increases and every decision truly matters. If he can do that, then we could be talking about something much bigger. We could be talking about a quarterback capable of changing the way the Crimson Tide offense is viewed. And I want to know what you think, Alabama fans. After hearing that his own teammates are calling Keelon Russell dynamite in a bottle and saying that he makes throws that seem impossible, do you believe he can become the biggest name on the Crimson Tide offense? Do you think all of this hype is justified? Or would you rather wait until you see Keelon Russell do it in actual games before believing we're watching a true star emerge? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear what Alabama fans think.